Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am actually doing a bit of a tutorial on how to color sunburnt skin. Now I have these three lovely ladies here which I actually drew and then I scanned it and printed it out so I could have the same thing 3 times. And yeah, I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can draw and color sunburn. So first off here we actually got this pale pink marker and we are going over the slight areas where you think that sun would hit the most. Now this first method is for very light sunburn, or I guess sun-kissed, very soft look, not too bad, but like we will get into the more crazy stuff later. So yeah, I have got pink on most of the main parts where I'm going to have sunburn, and then I get a colorless blender and I basically blend that out to white to try and, you know, make it nice and soft and even. And then as you can tell, I layer in some milky white over the top, and this is a very quick and easy way to do sunburn, and yeah, it's pretty effective and I think it works pretty well. Now we are just trying to do a very even one layer coat over the top, and that's basically so we can preserve the markings that we did underneath. Now after we get that all done, I'm just going over the pink bits just a little bit more with my milky white marker, and that's just to darken it just a tad, because when you are sunburned those areas are a little bit darker than normal. Now I'm just touching it up here and there just to try and add some little shadows and a little small highlights with my color blender, and I'm actually going in with my sand colored marker to do actual like dark shadows like you normally would when you're coloring in skin. So I'm just getting the darkest parts, and then I go back in with my milky white color and I blend it just a little bit so it looks nice. And then after that I just go over just a tiny bit more with the pale pink just to add a little bit more of that pinkness back in. And yeah, there we have it. There's the first one. Now the second one, I'm actually going to go a little bit more crazy with the sunburn. I guess this young lady must have fallen asleep somewhere in the sun, and she's got a little bit more of an intense burn on her. So a little bit silly, but you know, it happens to the best of us. So now I'm just going back in with that very light pink marker, but I am being a lot more generous with it. I am putting it on a lot more areas, being careful to leave some white parts because obviously you're not going to be burnt or tanned on every single part the same way, so there's going to be a few parts here and there which will have more. And then after that I'm actually going over the top of that with my light prawn marker, which is R22 I think, and that's just to add a little bit more intensity. So these areas are where it's gotten pretty bad and it's probably a little bit painful for her. So now that I have done that, and I have also blended with a little bit of that lighter pink color as well, I am doing the same thing I did before, a nice even layer of skin color over the top. Now I'm actually going with a darker color than last time. Last time I used milky white, this time I am using raw silk. And that's because when you get a sunburn and it's a little bit more intense, you're also going to get a bit of a tan with it, and your skin's going to darken a little bit as well. I'm actually experiencing that right now because, silly me, I actually went out the other day and we weren't swimming or anything, but I guess the UV was high and I got a little bit sunburnt, and that's actually the reason why I'm doing this today, because I thought, hey, that would be pretty cool to do, and my friend actually mentioned it to me that I should do a tutorial just jokingly, and I was like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So I did it. Anyways, back on track, I'm just going in here with my sand colored marker, doing the shadows just like before and blending just like I did before. And now I'm actually going over again with the pink just to add a little bit more pinkness overall to the whole piece, because when you layer a bit over, some of that does get pushed to the back. And here we have it. It's mostly done. I'm just adding a little bit of highlights here and there with my milky white marker, and here is this second one. And I think It's a little bit more intense compared to last one. As you can tell, she's a little bit more worse for wear, but I think we can go a little bit more further. Now, this one's not going to be as intense, but it's going to be a little bit more funny because I decided to do a bit of a tan line situation here. So it appears that this young lady has spent some time in the sun with some clothes on, like over the top of her swimmers. And yeah, she forgot to put sunscreen on, so I guess she got a little bit sunburnt. So I actually decided to do a V-neck top with like a little bit longer shorts over the top of her swimmer shorts, I guess. And you can do this any shape and size you want. If you want to have them a singlet or a tank top or something like that, it's definitely fine to do. You can do whatever you like. And I decided, because I thought it would be a little bit more funny, to do some sunglasses on her as well. So basically, you colour in as if you were before, but only do it on the bits that aren't where you drew the lines. So I'm just very carefully trying to avoid the t-shirt shape and the shorts shape below, and obviously the sunglass shape as well. And then after I do some of that light pink colour, I go back in with light prawn, which is the sort of darker pinky reddy kind of colour, and I just do the areas where it got most exposure to the sun. So on her nose, on her cheekbones, a little bit on the shoulders, but obviously not the whole shoulder because some of it is covered up by her shirt. And yeah, bits like that on her thighs, her knees, that kind of thing. And basically we go all over that just like we did before, but be careful to still leave that white color white for now. And we're going to go over the whole thing with a few more layers to try and get the milky white color on the sunburn areas darker. And now for the final bit, the parts of skin where obviously it was covered up by clothes. Now I'm going to go over with some colorless blender and really saturate the paper in the places where you want the highlights, because I want this skin very, very light and fair. So I'm just going to have color in the shadows and have it blend into the highlights with the colorless blender. So obviously you just go over with the colorless blender. I'm repeating myself, but this is important. Colorless blender where you want the highlights, and then do some shadows, but make sure you blend it into the colorless blender. Anyways, enough repeating myself. I'm just doing some shadows here and there like I would, and make sure to do darker shadows on the suntanned parts and lighter shadows on the obviously fair parts of the skin. But yeah, here is the final piece, and now I cannot leave an artwork unfinished. Okay, I've drawn this lovely skin on these girls, and obviously I want to finish the whole piece off. So I'm going to leave you with a bit of a speed paint to have the rest of these lovely ladies colored in, and I'm going to do little variations here and there in each one. And yeah, I will come back at the end to finish it off. here we have our completed illustrations, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with each one. I kind of like that they're basically very similar drawing but 3 times with different details, and yeah, I really like them. I have to say I think my favorite is probably the third girl with the tan lines. I just think it's a little bit funny even though it's sad. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you practice sun safety, you know, slip, slop and slap everyone. You gotta put on your sunscreen so that you don't end up like these girls. But anyways, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!